Grundy, and I want to talk to you about being a credit to the race. While watching the St. Louis Cardinals play in the National League Championship games this week, I was reminded of my father. My dad was a Cardinal fan and a National League fan. He really liked the National League because of Jackie Robinson started in the National League. And my father always favored National League teams. My father used to tell me about how he and his friends would drive down from Leavenworth, Kansas, and they would all load up and drive down to St. Louis. And they'd drive down to see the Cardinals play because Brooklyn Dodgers were in town, and that meant Jackie was there. See, my dad used to use sports and sports stories to teach me about history and to teach me about social science, to teach me about how to be an athlete. My dad taught me about how the Dodgers were the first to hire African Americans. Jackie, Roy Campanella, Don Newcomb. And the Cardinals had been one of the last, but he had been a fan of the Negro League even. And my dad had remembered even when Jackie had been with the Kansas City Monarchs. So he used that to tell me about the separation of teams and segregation. He talked to me about how Branch Rickey had been the guy who had brought Jackie into the big leagues with the Dodgers, but Branch Rickey had also been the general manager of the Cardinals back when Dizzy Dean was playing. Dad used all kinds of examples and stories from baseball to explain segregation issues to me. So I learned about players like Cool Papa Bell and Josh Gibson and Satchel Paige. He also used these examples as a source of pride, and he encouraged me to live up to that example of what these black athletes were about. The makeup of baseball teams in the country is different now than what it was then. There's a good amount of diversity in all sports, and now black players don't feel the weight of representing the entire race as they did in the past. But I still treasure those athletes that I learned about that set that example for me when I was growing up. The ones that I learned about through my dad. I try to remember that I'm blessed to be standing on the accomplishments of others. Many people came before me and paved the way. They provided me with an example of what comes from hard work and perseverance and a belief that things can change, things can get better. Those guys lived up to the old adage of being a credit to your race. Now, I know we don't think much like that now, but I'd still like to be a credit to the human race. I still strive to make my dad proud.